to the Hakurei Shrine, which seems to be multiples of them, surprisingly, to poverty, which you can guess who I'll be referring to, and magician beef, which I'll admit, I was not ready for that. Hello, Magi here, and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Touhou Facts, the series where I talk about facts from Touhou that I find either fun, unusual, or simply interesting. So without further ado, let's begin the Interesting Touhou Facts number 97.
Number 5.
So for this first fact, we're going to be looking at EOSD as a whole. Nothing too crazy, but just some fun little tidbits you should know. So in Strange Creators Volume 2, in Yarormyr and Flandre's section, when creating EOSD, a major theme Zune wanted for the game was to be unexpected. Even though Touhou is considered Eastern given its setting in Gensokyo/Japan, he wanted to catch them off guard. That's why we had Western themes like the SDM, maids, and the final bosses being vampires like Yarormyr and Flandre. I mean, at the time, that certainly would have caught people off guard, switching from one genre to the next like that. The first two stages could be anything, with Yarormyr and Chiruno showing up. Once you get to stage 3 and meleeing, that's when you notice the Western theme, and it jacks it up the further you go into the game. So it's cool to see what Zune's thought process was for EOSD. Not only that, the idea of unexpected was the core concept for Flandre as well. One part to being her wings. Let's be real, whenever you thought of a vampire, were crystal wings the first thing you ever imagined of? Not only that, Flandre's Damaku had references to mystery stories, something I referred to in the past like Agatha Christie's novel, and then there were none. Pretty dope to see Zune really going ham on the idea of unexpected.
Number 4.
For this next fact, we'll be looking at both types of games, the main and spin-offs. You'll understand why. So in Strange Creators Volume 2, in the Unobara and Zune section, Zune says he doesn't like releasing games on consoles. The reason is Zune doesn't see the point in reworking a game from ground up just to play in the consoles. But he's cool if Twilight Frontier making it and Sony's fine with it. Plus, he doesn't want a game to be a straight up port. Huh, I see. When Urban Legend was first announced on the PS4, I was curious to see if any of the main games would follow foot. I know they were eventually released on Steam, something the Western fans were glad to have. Easier to buy the shit there than buying a CD from Japan, wouldn't you say? And while he's not a fan of porting the games to a console, it doesn't mean he won't contribute when he needs to. What do I mean by that? In the PS4 version of Urban, Raisin was an exclusive character. Not only that, Zune had created a story mode for the bunny, plus Raisin's story was the prologue to the event of Antennemy, showing a small snippet of how Perfect Possession would play out. So while we may not see the main games coming to the consoles, the fighters always have the options of showing up there, and with new content to boot as well.
Number 3.
When it comes to locations, one of the most important places in Gensokyo, and a place we see very often in the print works, is the Hakurei Shrine. Reimu's home in the gathering of many festivals, parties, stages, and any other random shit I can't think of off the top of my head. The central hub, if you will, after the human village. And although I listed all those things earlier, it doesn't get the most visitors. At least the human ones anyway. Ironic considering the resident of the place is human herself. But again, that's what happens when you hang out with mostly yokais. Will you believe me if I tell you that the Hakurei Shrine was actually popular with humans? There's a caveat to that though. In Strange Creators Volume 1, in the basic knowledge section, it's mentioned there are 2 Hakurei Shrines, one in Gensokyo and the outside world. When Renosuke was being departed in Curiosity Chapter 11, he saw an archway that was familiar, a shrine. There was a lot of people there, so it's possible the shrine he saw in the dream was the outside Hakurei Shrine, and it's doing better than the Gensokyo one since there's actual visitors, human ones obviously. If the outside world humans are visiting it, I can imagine the place will get donations. A lot more than its Gensokyo counterpart, I would imagine. If only she could teleport to the outside world's counterpart to see its visitors, she might make some bank! Who knows? Can't be any worse than normal.
Number 2.
In Touhou, when it comes to magicians, the first person to pop into your mind would be Marissa, the second most important character of the series, right behind Reimu. Miss Master Sparking, book-borrowing, ordinary magician. She's not the only mage, as we have Patchouli, Alice, and Byakuren. I've talked about all these girls before in different episodes. Today, on the other hand, I want to talk about beef with the magicians. And surprisingly, it doesn't involve Marissa being annoying to others. So yeah, this should be good. In Strange Creators Volume 3, in the Immaterial Award and Giving Review, which is a section where the girls were rating Damaku and whatever, Patchouli gave Amelia the Damaku prize and Suika the Banquet prize. Now this is what Patchouli said, to quote, Yeah, special prize? There's no one in particular. But... oh, I know. Please give it to that woman who has the nerve to call herself a magician while specializing in putting on puppet shows. If she only wants to play house, then isn't that just perfect? Holy bloody duck fuck. Chill, Pashley. What the hell did Alice do to be called out like that? Did she kick your dog or something? Man, that felt personal. Hell, I felt insulted. And I can't even use magic or work with dolls. I don't know what's going on between the two, but it sure ain't a positive thing, that's for sure.
Number 1.
For this last fact, we're going to be talking about Antenemy. It'll mainly involve one of the new girls of the game, Shion. Now Shion is an interesting deal as though she's one of the main antagonists of the game. She's not a playable character. That role is left to her sister, Joan. Aside from her non-playable status, what I wanted to focus on today was her ability that allowed the two to be such a vicious duo. As a poverty goddess, Shion brings misfortune to others, but it is also constantly cursed with misfortune herself since she stores it inside her body. As more and more misfortune is stored up, it'll explode at regular intervals. At this time, Shion turned into a super poverty god who scatters bad luck all around. Like during the time when she went all out against Reimu. Through perfect possession, she used this power to make Joan's opponents so unlucky that they lose for absolutely no reason. The only one unaffected by this power seems to be Tenchi, whose natural good luck has been considered to be inexhaustible by the poverty goddess. Something that's further elaborated in Wild, but we won't discuss that today. Since the misfortune also affects Shion, she seems to be unable to win any fights by herself. And even outside battles, absolutely anything she is involved with always ends badly for her and anyone else involved. Yeah, remind me to be far away from her if possible. When she planned a couple of banquets with Tenchi, all the food and drinks were disgusting and all the participants, including Tenchi, became sick or had other problems. Well, not even Tenchi's super luck could have saved her there. But yeah, Shion's power is similar to Hina since they both deal with misfortune. The difference is that it personally affects Shion from what we can tell, and Hina's pretty good. So yeah, even if your powers are super similar, the effects can be very different as clearly shown. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Which facts were your favorite? Would you be down to see more of the feature fighters showing up in the console? Do you think Reimu would lose it if she saw how her outside world shrine counterpart was doing? Or do you find Shion's ability to be a little wacky? If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, or else Pashley might go all out and roast you as well. I don't know why, but whatever. Either way, this is Magi, and thanks again for watching.